So morning yogis, lovely to meet you on the mat. Have a little moment just to choose either lying down or seated. And come into this space with a few breaths. Breathing into the triangle that we make with our hips and our navel, that lovely lower belly area. And then just have a little moment to think about where you're holding some tension today. Bring the thoughts inward. Look through the body from the head all the way down through your body. Maybe there's a funny little tightness on the back of your neck, or you're holding it round the hips. Notice if there's anything that's tight that you can notice in the chest or the belly. Just observing the tiny little things that we more often ignore. And just come into the breath. I found something I'd like to read you. I keep coming across some really lovely pieces. But I think this, it also links really well to yin. So in the Spirit of Yoga book, it says, whilst technique in asana, which are the poses, is of course crucial, it is just as important to create bhava, which is mood, in your practice. Essentially, yoga is a state of existence, and bhava is the colour, taste, smell, and the feel of this experience. Bhava comes from inspiration. It is a gift. It will permeate your being more strongly than the most precise instructions. So what that means for me is, and we've often said it between us, that we do very similar poses in yin. There aren't as many as hatha. But every time we come into the same pose, there'll be a different mood, that bhava, a different feel to it, a different colour, essentially, in the pose for you, whether you experience it in a different part of the body and a different part of the emotional sense, or even mentally. So just opening with that today, so that when you go through your postures, which are so familiar, notice if there's a different mood attached today than perhaps another day, or to each one. Just bringing that awareness of consciousness to the holistic part of you, not just the physical pose. So that can be our undercurrent through practice today. Have a moment to root down, even in the posture that you've chosen, seated or lying down, whether this is a familiar one for you. Notice if that bhava is there, that mood, or a different colour to your posture. And maybe you can even bring colour to mind in a posture, whether it feels red and rooted, or whether it feels light and airy, and what colour comes to your mind with that. So just kind of allowing you to explore this practice a little bit deeper today. So if you are lying down, just have a moment, hug the knees in, and have a nice gentle rock. Meet me in a seated position, and those of you already seated, just allow yourself a few more moments to get comfortable. And we'll do mindfulness of breath, the 4 stages of counting the out breath, the in breath, no count, and then real observation. And again, perhaps checking in with the mood of each stage of this practice as well, one that we know very well. So allow yourself to get comfortable. If you need something around your shoulders to keep you warm, then this is always a nice time, because we'll be sat for about 5 minutes. So I'll pop the timer on just to see how long it does take us today, and we'll rest hands to Dhyana Mudra. So beginning as we relax, counting the exhale 1 to 10. Relax. Counting the inhale. Trying to keep the mind on the breath. And just release the count. Staying with your breath. And really now tuning in to all sensations you feel. Feeling the mood of this practice. Just following perhaps the last 5 breaths. And just gently coming back into the practice. Blinking your eyes open. How did that feel with the essence of thinking about the mood of that, the taste, the feel, the smell essentially of the practice rather than just the physical? It's always curious to have another angle on what we're doing. So we're going to come into butterfly as our first pose. Bringing soles of the feet together, supporting under legs if you need to. And this is often a pose that we'll start with. So again, coming into it today with how does the whole pose, what's the mood of the whole pose? Gently relaxing. We ease ourselves into this pose. Releasing tension in the face and head and neck. Notice as you relax your shoulders, then your upper back may curl a little bit more. And gently breathing to your belly. How do you feel in this pose today? Does it feel peaceful? Is it challenging and difficult? Keep relaxing wherever you find the tension. What mood are your hips in? Do they feel playful, joyful? Or is there a resistance and a stiffness there? And just enjoying that lovely pulsating of the breath. And as your body surrenders and relaxes, can the mind become quite relaxed, settled like the snow globe? Relaxing cheeks, eyes, chin. And let's just follow the breath for the last 3 breaths. And then gently as we come out, noticing the mood as we lift up. How does it feel to release from that pose? And then just coming down. Relax. Take your time just to allow your body to stretch and soften. Gradually keep letting go into that lower back. Notice if you have to hold a little bit of tension initially just as things soften. And keep directing your body to let go, feel safe enough, relax the muscles. And maybe now some deep belly breaths can loosen into that lumbar. And checking in with how you're feeling here. Lovely restful pose, Shavasana. How do the hips feel? And then when you're ready, we're going to hug our knees in. Just notice how your mood feels as I introduce the next pose. We're going to come into dragon. Not for the full 5 minutes, just for a few minutes today. So awareness on even the anticipation of coming into a pose, which you may love or you may find challenging. So dragon, quite a strong pose. And only holding it as long as you want in any of these postures. If it's too much, always come out. We'll start with the right leg forward and left leg back. If you need to put something, and you may enjoy putting a rolled blanket under that back knee, even if you're on carpet, take the opportunity to create added support and blocks as well to have a bit more lift. So the right foot's on the outside of the arms. This can be challenging. It is one that's always mentally challenging for me. And sometimes I like it, sometimes I hate it. And just coming into this, feeling the mood, feel your mood with this pose. How much tension are you holding in the hip flexors and the lower back and buttocks? See if you can really isolate the areas that you're holding activated muscle and release. Coming into the pose, only 70% of your stretch. Don't go full out. Relax your head down if you want to. And take some deep breaths as we really try and release. What's going through your mind? Is there resistance here today? Or open curiosity? Deep breaths. We'll take 3 more breaths. Try and loosen into your abdomen. And nice and gently, we're going to come out. 2.5 minutes. That was. Keeping all your things handy, but still come into neutral. Take your time as well. There's no rush. It's really nice to kind of feel that relief as you come out of quite a strong pose. How does it feel? How does it feel through your back compared with Shavasana, neutral pose after butterfly? Maybe you can really feel it in your left hip flexor, right at the top of the leg. Notice any sensation through your feet, your left sole of the foot, right sole of the foot. Relaxing that lower back. giving yourself permission to melt into your mat. And if your eyes are closed, just focusing a few moments on your breath and the mood of this pose. So when you're ready, hopefully all that sensation has faded now. Let's just hug in. Take your time here if you really need to stretch a little bit more. And then coming up. And just sort of working your way into the other side. The left leg is forward. So again, we'll just do 2.5 minutes, not very long, even though sometimes 2.5 minutes can seem like forever in this pose. Left foot forward, right leg back. What's your initial thought as you come into this pose? Is it negative or positive? If I'm completely honest, mine is challenged, but open to it softening. And curious as to, what you'll feel this side as opposed to the other side. Maybe it's easier. Try and relax the front of the body and your abdomen as you breathe. Notice the tension in the lower back and buttocks. If you are resistant here today, what can that be? Is it a reflection of something else that's going on in life? Our outer world is often a mirror to our inner world. Relaxing that back thigh, the right thigh, the hamstring. Try and be gentle with your breaths. Such a wonderful pose for all the meridians that flow through your legs. So the liver and gallbladder, kidney and the bladder, and the spleen and stomach. Let's just take 3 last breaths. Notice the tension you might have in the calf muscles around the knees. Lovely. Gently, nice and slowly, coming out. We've done the hard one today. Sometimes these poses really kind of open us up to giving us the opportunity when we're faced with a posture that's difficult or stressed, and allowing us to achieve it, to work through it, to explore the mental meanderings that go on. It's almost like practice for life. When we get challenges in life, we can get through those. We can cope with the difficulty. Strength. So just resting and tuning into whatever you're feeling. Scan through your body. Perhaps you can feel tingling in the palms of your hands as well. stimulating through the arms. Just checking in with anything else you can soften. Relax the cheeks and muscles around your eyes. Let the jaw go. And then we'll draw the knees in. So the next poses are nice and relaxing, just to kind of compensate for being in what could be very challenging and stressful one with dragon. Next one's bench. Let's give our back some support. So grabbing your cushion and then just taking it wherever you're comfortable. I like it a little bit further so I get more of a thoracic stretch rather than the lumbar curve. And so just coming down. If you need something rolled up under your neck, small hand towels, always good to have handy, or your block can go behind the head just to create a bit of support. Relax your buttocks. If you need to, just sort of peel the pads of your buttocks away from the mat. Get as comfortable as you can. Even in this pose, your chin may want to gently tuck in. Try and relax your rib cage and your shoulders and arms. And then just start to follow your breath, the rise and the fall of your belly, the lift of your chest. What's the mood of this pose? You might be able to come up with quite a few words in your mind. Supported, nurturing. How does it feel within you today? If you want to, you can always move your arms in this pose as well. You can, try having them overhead. They might not reach the floor. You can have them just dangling, get a bit more of a stretch. Move in whatever way your body feels like it wants to. Still staying with your breath. You could come into cactus arms like we do with banana. Feeling a lovely stretch across the upper chest. Relax your hands and fingers. So take another breath or two. And gently lifting the head, lifting the body a little bit, pulling out that cushion. Come down. Noticing again how you're feeling here. Where you most feel it, this neutral pose we take so frequently, but how the sensations shift around the body depending on what we've done before. So we'll bring our knees in, and still, if you've got your cushion to hand, we'll come into waterfall. Nice gentle inversion. Just tilt yourself up, pop a little wedge underneath the buttocks, and raised feet. You can have a blanket over your feet if you want to. Keep yourself warm. So as you lie here, you can bring your awareness to your third eye and enjoying this inversion. Still getting many of the benefits that we do with either headstand or shoulder stand. Just with the legs raised, let everything drain back towards the heart. And again, just draw your awareness to that, the bhava, the mood of this pose. How it might be very different from dragon. What are the words that come to mind here? Perhaps there's a feeling of freedom, having the legs raised and in the air. Checking in with how your breath feels in this pose. Relaxing shoulders and neck. Notice your thoughts. What's going through your mind right now? Our thoughts become things, so it's so good to be mindful, especially in a class like this where we can be very conscious of what's going through our mind. The rest of the day it usually kind of goes off on its own. Our thoughts are thinking us rather than we're thinking our thoughts. If you ever get the opportunity to sit and journal just for 5 or 10 minutes, that has that lovely effect of you thinking your thoughts rather than the other way round. So gently we'll take a nice breath. Start to just bend the knees, lower the feet down and come into neutral. Take your time, do it in phases. And then enjoy. How long does it take you to relax here? Is it quicker than other postures? And then when you're ready, hug in. We're just going to take banana for a few minutes each side. So while you're still lying down, again, if you want to pull a blanket over while you're doing this, because we don't have to move very much, then you can do. So coming over to the right-hand side, feet to the right, right foot over the left, and then shoulders up to the top right. Again, I always find just sort of walk out the buttocks so they don't feel tense. Relax there, relax into the lower back. If you want to take the arms overhead, you can. Today I'm just going to keep them by my side, but explore where you want to move the arms. And then relaxing your toes and ankles. Starting to enjoy the stretch that you're perhaps beginning to feel on the left side of the body, hip and waist. Softening buttocks and lower back. What's the mood of this pose? We're stretching the feminine side, Ida. Maybe it feels soft and cool. Maybe there's an intuitive feeling to this pose. Does it feel calm and gentle? And just bring your focus to your breath. Enjoy noticing how your breath moves. Just being completely at one with yourself. Nice gentle breaths. Keep relaxing any tension in the backs of your shoulders, upper back. It can be the smallest amount of tension, not clammed up, but still you'll feel it. Check in with the sides of your waist, whether your hips are tilted and become tense. So let's just take a breath, maybe a nice sigh, and then wriggle your feet back to centre, and just lifting shoulders a few inches. Relax. What's the mood of this pose? Where's the chi moving through your body? Might feel quite a lot of it through your left leg. And then if you want to just hug the knees in before you come into the other side, I quite like to do that sometimes. It just sort of feels like it frees up the feeling to go into the other side with a fresh mind. So now everything over to the left, feet left, left foot over right, and then shoulders left. Relax, just release through the buttocks, lower back. Take a nice deep inhale. And just checking in with the mood of this side of the pose. Does it feel the same as the other side? Or is there a real subtle difference with us stretching now the masculine aspect of ourselves, Pingala? Does this side feel stronger, sunnier, a sunnier feeling? Just hone in on the real subtle feelings or thoughts that come into your mind. Still keep relaxing anywhere that you find any tension. So to keep just exploring what you're thinking, feeling, the mood of this pose, the physical side of the pose, the breath. Even though that it looks like we're doing nothing, we're actually, in fact, quite busy in this pose, mentally. Keep relaxing anywhere you're finding tension, especially lower back. And as you lie here, I know this will sound silly, and I've shared this with you before. I want you to put your name into this lovely affirmation and say it to yourself a few times. So for me, it's "You're wonderful, Zanna. I love you." Just say that to yourself. Put your own name in there. "You're wonderful. I love you." It might feel forced, but just let your subconscious hear that. Let's just take a breath and gently come back to center. Really noticing how that pose felt. It was actually about 5 minutes in either side, longer than we normally take. Enjoy what you're feeling. A lovely balance of our right and left side and hemispheres of the brain, our right and left body energies. Notice the chi moving, perhaps the inner thighs. And then when you're ready, you can hug in. Let's come into relaxation. Either lying down or seated, you choose. Notice what your body, what's the mood that you feel like? It might not be what you always choose. Pull a blanket around your shoulders if you want to. Anything to just feel nice and cozy. So settling. I'd just like to talk about the idea of addictions. A lot of the time, addictions, when we hear that word, always associated with something possibly negative, something bad, that addictions are bad. And yes, a lot of us do have perhaps some sort of addictions that aren't so good for us, our addiction to coffee or TV, drugs, or legal or not, alcohol. But there is also a side of us that has positive addictions, and that I think gets really forgotten. We might have an addiction to having a walk in nature every day, and that's something we love doing. We always do that, and it makes us feel good. Addiction to our regular practice of yoga, very positive. Mindfulness and meditation. We might have an addiction to our favourite herbal tea, or to drink a certain amount of glasses of water every day. All these are really healthy habits and addictions that we have. So I just want you to sit there for a little while and think about what little addictions you have that are really good and healthy and positive for you in your life, and just sit with that and reflect. It balances out maybe our negative patterns. So very gently, just coming back into your space mentally, noticing how you're feeling physically. What's the mood of the pose you're in now? And then just enjoying following a few more conscious breaths. And just observe how settled your mind is. Has the snow in the snow globe all fallen to the floor and the picture is clear? You can see right through with clarity. And then when you're ready, if you're lying down or even if you're seated, you can just start to maybe wiggle the fingers and toes. Bring some gentle movement back in. And then gradually hug the knees in. Enjoy a few breaths and then you can slowly roll up. Join me seated. Still stay rooted. Imagine those roots coming from your tailbone deep into the earth, and just know that you're tethered to the earth all day. And when you're ready, just bring in hands to heart center. Om Shanti. Namaste.